Hi, guys. How are you? Okay, so we got something really sticky to talk about today. This whole Joe Rogan situation that has now affected Whoopi Goldberg and Howard Stern. It's a touchy subject because I think Diva's right. This cancel culture is just getting out of control. But anyway, it's a touchy subject tonight. We're talking about people using the N word, who should go, who shouldn't go. We're talking about Whoopi affecting supporting Mel Gibson, and this is all things from the past that I think is politically motivated. I don't know what to make of it, but we got to take on the tough subjects here. So let me go ahead, play my intro, allow more people into the room, and then we'll get right into it. Hi guys, how are you? Hi Diva.
Hey.
Hey Perry.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
I'm gonna drop this link. I don't know why Canelo is in the audience. You're supposed to be up here with us, Canelo.
I tried to send it to him.
You did? I'm gonna drop it for you now, Canelo. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me drop this link. This is so touchy. I don't even like talking about it, but it's dominating the news today. It's dominating it. Before I do that, let me put up my banner. And there we go. And also shout out Perry's Hotline. I don't know what happened to you, V. I'm already full backstage, so you might not could get in.
All right, guys, what's going on?
Canelo's going to replace you, V. It's such a touchy subject. I don't like talking about it, but it's what's going on. But before we get into that, if you haven't signed up for Perry's Hotline, don't forget to sign up. It is area code 1-702-553-3288. So if you've been watching the news the last couple of days, it all started with this Joe Rogan thing. Let's just start with that. Okay, a tape surfaced. Somebody intentionally put together a tape of Joe Rogan. There we go, V. Hey, V.
Am I late?
I thought you weren't going to get on. Yeah.
Did Diva call me Ernie? Did Diva call me Ernie?
No. A tape surface of Joe Rogan. You probably heard this. Having a collaboration of using the N-word. I would play the tape. I go back and forth about it because.
Where's that noise coming from?
Huh?
Canelo Polly.
No, that's me this time.
Oh, that's V. V, you got to turn your TV down.
Hang on 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Canelo.
You did put him. So it surfaced to Joe Rogan, who's got a laid back personality. He smoked weed on air before. He has a very popular podcast. I do believe it's about like 11 million followers. And so he said the N-word, and everybody some people were upset about it. Then The Rock came out and said, I still support you. In so many words, because it just goes on and on and on. And then people came after The Rock this weekend, like, how dare you support him? And then Joe Rogan supporters start saying he's not the only person that said the N-word. He shouldn't be canceled. He should be forgiven. So then they pulled out this old Howard Stern tape. I don't even know if I should play it. They're saying Howard Stern should be canceled now for something he said 27 years ago. 27 years ago. Should anybody be held accountable for anything they said 27 years ago?
No.
27 years ago?
No.
And then now they're saying that Whoopi Goldberg, let me post the latest one. This was just posted 3 hours ago for supporting Mel Gibson. And now I'm starting to agree with Diva. This cancel culture is just getting ridiculous. She was supporting him on a friend level, not being because she is an anti-Semitic. I don't know. Do you say yay for one, no to the other? I got to play the tapes, though. You got to listen to the things that are going around. It's a warning. They use the N-word. This is a bad subject. I see people in the audience saying you don't use it no matter what, no matter how long ago it was. But I'm Black. 27 years ago. I'll play a portion of it. He was actually in blackface, Howard Stern. This is terrible. I don't even want to play it, but it happened. He was with Sherman Hemsley from the Jeffersons, and they were doing a skit on Ted Danson. This is terrible. And so Howard Stern is so big, and it was so long ago. I don't think he should be canceled. I'm a Black person saying that. This is terrible. I'll play it, and you guys can chew me out. And it's warning sign. I know I gotta play it. It's so bad.
Warning,
Isn't it bad?
It's sensitive.
It's
but,
sensitive. It's sensitive.
Like you said, we gotta have the conversation.
And then we gotta have the conversation because this is trending. If it wasn't trending, I would avoid this story like the plague. But Joe Rogan is everywhere. Do we forgive Joe Rogan? Okay, shut up. Play the tape. Okay, here we go. This is first. Let's play Joe Rogan's.
You know, the nigger thing.
Yeah. Saying the word nigger.
Well, you've already said nigger.
D is just like nigger. Saying nigger.
She's calling you a nigger. It's like this boy that he's a nigger, but starts calling them niggers.
Word nigger. There should be a word like nigger, especially like the word nigger. That's our nigger. About niggers. He says nigger. Guy, a nigger. And there are niggers. Start saying nigger. Allowed to use the word nigger. Out the word nigger. See nigger. Word nigger. Say nigger, and you couldn't say nigger. And most nigger. Nigger.
Okay, so someone put that tape together. It's a compilation of the things that he said over 12 years. Okay, so if you're saying cancel Joe Rogan, and that word is never to be used, the point that these people are trying to make now is like there are other people that have said bad things like Whoopi Goldberg supporting Mel Gibson. Let's not even go over Mel Gibson's. It's just ridiculous. People say crazy stuff. I'll just play a snippet of the Howard Stern because they're saying Howard Stern needs to be canceled. This is bad.
Oh, hush up. I hate blackface. I just can't get this shit off. Besides, Whoopi done wrote everything I'm going to say here tonight, so it's all right. Ain't that right, you smelly nigger?
I didn't write that.
Well, you is a smelly nigger.
That's a snippet of it. This is a hard conversation.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a hard conversation. It's like this.
Oh, and then The Rock. I got to do The Rock thing. Hold on.
Okay.
His tweets. So The Rock, basically, someone sent that tape to The Rock of what Joe Rogan said, and this was his response at first. This is just crazy. I don't even know what to make of it. And I am backed up. People got a lot to say. This is crazy. Someone sent him and says, you're a hero to many people. They're talking to The Rock and using your platform to defend Joe Rogan, a guy that used and laughed about using the N-word dozens of times, is a terrible use of your power. Have you actually listened to this man? Many racist statements about Black people. And then The Rock responds to the person. He says, dear so-and-so, thank you so much for this. I hear you as well as everyone here 100%. I was not aware of his use of the N-word used prior to my comments, but now I've become educated to his complete narrative. Learning moment for me. Mahalo, brother, and gave a great and productive weekend. So he's backing away from Joe Rogan. Can we really condemn someone who said something 27 years ago? It was horrible. Heard it. We all just heard it.
For me, yeah, go ahead.
It was horrible. It was 27 years ago. They were doing a skit because I want to say Whoopi Goldberg, and what is his name? Ted Danson. Was it Ted Danson?
Yeah.
At the time had went somewhere in blackface, and so they were mocking that situation and doing a skit. The unfortunate part to add to that 27 years ago, you have a black man next to you doing a skit with you, and if you really wanted to say that word was so harsh and to make an impact on it, someone from the culture is sitting right next to you participating in the situation. So that was 27 years ago. I'm not saying it was right, but when you sit there and you're with someone of the different culture and you're making a skit about it or a joke about it, you're saying in your mind, okay, it must be okay because this man is from that culture and he's doing it with me. Also, 27 years ago, all comedians did a lot of off-color jokes and use a lot of words that you cannot use now at all. So it was also a different time period where people were accepting of more things. If he was caught doing that now, I would say differently, but you're going back 27 years, then we're going to be canceling a whole lot of people.
So do we let off Joe Rogan, who did apologize? He's saying, as a white person, I should never use that word. I can't really play his apologies because he dropped F-bombs all over the place, but he did apologize. Do we forgive Joe Rogan?
But how long ago did Joe Rogan do his thing?
He said it was in a time span of 12 years. Doesn't this seem politically motivated?
Because 27 years ago, I've been 3 different people since then. Yeah. You can't be held responsible for what you did way back in the day when you were a different person. So, it's not what he said was what they did was awful. It should have been judged at that time. If you didn't judge him at that time and do what you needed to do to them at that time, then this is another new day and age right now. So why would you be? Then if you're gonna go back, keep going back, why don't you hit up some of the old slavery people?
Are you supporting?
It's got to be a limit. It's got to be a limit. You can't keep going back every time somebody says something. You can go back to their childhood and say they said something at one time. I just don't agree with that.
Canelo, it's a lot. It's
a lot. I do agree. You can't you can't hold people accountable for things 27 years ago. Like Diva said, it was another time period. People basically were more lax about words they would use considered to these days now because we have more activists out there, advocating for us not to use certain words. I never liked Howard Stern, not because of that, but just to see that him and Sherman together, it was a skit. So that was a joke. But with Joe Rogan, if he's been saying this over 12 years, where's everybody's being for them to come out and start talking about that now? Why now instead of, saying it back? Like maybe somebody said he said this stuff last week. So this supposed to came out a week ago, if that's the case. He apologized, but
well, that's everybody's cue now, right? As soon as they do something wrong, they apologize. But I do like with the last person you had up on your banner really quick, Sherelle. The thing is, we want others to not use the word. And then, I know this is a sensitive topic, but I have to say it, then we need to stop using the word. So the other person wrote, it's in these rappers' songs. People say it casually on the street. Yo, that's my, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, we want the word to be not used because we say it's hurtful, but yet we use the word over and over again. And then when you have rappers and other people writing these words in a song, they get mad if someone's singing the song and says it and they're not of the culture. But how can you get mad? If you want me to like your song and I'm saying the song, now I got to be mindful when I'm singing it, not to say that particular word when you say it in a song. We got to respect ourselves and not do this to ourselves so that others can join in and understand how hurtful it is. We can't say it's just hurtful because it's coming out of their mouth. It should be hurtful regardless, because the word represents something negative towards us.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
even with the Whoopi Goldberg thing, she was talking about supporting someone that said anti-Semitic things. Is anybody allowed to come after me because you don't like me, right? Put a compilation tape together for something I said 12 years ago, 27 years ago, and demand I be fired?
That's not right. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's not you. If you're going to hold somebody accountable for something, do it at the time that they do it. That they make the mistake.
Are you
Do it
saying that
then.
Joe Rogan even should have been held accountable 12 years ago when he said it, or whenever he said it? It should have been stopped right then and said, "You just said this."
Yeah.
It
But
should
you
have
can't
been.
go back 12 years
You
later and
don't
say, "Look what
think
he
about
said
it and
now."
say, "Oh, well, now he get a bigger punishment for it if I bring it up now. So let me just bring it up now." You should have brought it up 12 years ago. You
Right.
should have said something
I agree.
12 years ago.
But let me push back, because other Black people, when I start taking calls, are going to come in here and say, "I don't care if he said it 100 years ago." Joe Rogan needs to be canceled. Howard Stern needs to be canceled. What do you say to those people? This is crazy.
And those people have that choice. Okay. When we say cancel, they don't have to watch their material, right? Or anything they're saying. 27 years is a long time, right? And then two, we just take the basic of this. If this person is out there doing racist things, like harming people and doing all this stuff, sometimes you get to know when to hold it. Like,
right.
Those was words, and I'm not saying it's right for them to have said those words. It's not right for nobody, Black or white, to use that word. And once a person, like, it should be like some kind of statute of time, right? Say back then, 12 years ago, if everybody was so upset, they could have put pressure on him to stop his ways, right? Stop using this word, or this is going to happen to you. If you don't, you can't go back 27 years after the crime. Most criminals, when they get incarcerated, when they do their time, they might get out after 5 or 6 years or whatever. Can you go back and say, well, no, we get to counsel him again?
What about what involving with Etta saying? She's saying there are people that are in jail today from something they did 20 years ago.
We got to get the punishment based upon the crime, right? So I'm not saying if you went out and you shot 10 people 20 years ago and we just now found you, you should not go to jail. That's not what we're saying. But I am saying with this, there are some things, if you allow the person to get away with speaking a certain way all of that time, now you're going to come tell them on the same platform or a similar platform, like, oh, okay, now you no longer can say that. That's and if we're going to dissect this, then we would have to go back to what's the comedian that almost got canceled? His name is slipping my mind right now, from Netflix. Was it Netflix? Where
David Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle. So they wanted him canceled. Do you understand? So my thing is that I don't agree with anything that Joe Rogan has said, right? But the thing is, that person that put the clips together, again, he's wrong for using the word, but again, you put clips together, but we didn't hear the context before it. We didn't hear what you were saying, because one of them was sounding like he was saying, "Yo, that's she calling you, her, the N-word." So it's like you put all of this together to say he said the word that many times, but what happened before it? What was the wording before it? And I'm not saying because the wording before it is right, but what was it? So anybody can cut up stuff and make it seem like a certain way. So we have to dissect it. And we have to understand and we have to educate, because the word is used by our own culture. So now you want to say to other people, you don't say it, but I can, but it's supposed to be so harmful. So I'm just saying that every situation has to be dissected for what it is.
Let's start taking calls, because this is crazy.
Because see, what I wanted to say, hey, Callie, because see, what I wanted to say was, people, like you said, Diva, 27 years ago, and to say what V said, I was a different person 27 years ago.
Yes.
You can't hold me accountable for that, but who's to say that they were, they may not have gotten reprimanded for that, those years ago. Who's not to say? Because we weren't behind closed doors. We don't know if, there was some executives or people said something to them at that point in time. Whether they heeded or not, they still came out and said it, but we don't know if they got reprimanded. So,
sorry, Canelo.
oh no, I was just about to say, like, we just don't know. Maybe they did get reprimanded, but they didn't care.
Howard didn't get reprimanded at the time, neither did Whoopi. And
no, I was just saying, I was just using that as an example. Like, what if they did, but we don't know about it, is what I was saying. But they still come out and do it regardless. They still come out and do it regardless.
It's a heavy topic. Callie, what is your thoughts on this heavy topic? It's
heavy. I will say, and to echo what The Rock said, I did not know that Joe Rogan had said this.
Me too.
I do not support this type of foolishness. I would have never listened to this man's show. I would have canceled my Spotify long ago. I'm actually writing Spotify a letter right now. I've been a member for many, many years, subscriber of Spotify. This literally hurt my feelings.
Does it make a difference, Callie?
Silencing him just isn't the answer. And I'm like, who are you? Have you even talked to an African-American person to see what the answer would be? Like, and first of all, you're not silencing him because this is America. He can start his own company. They don't have to give him a platform.
Look, okay, Callie, does it make it? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Does it make a difference that this isn't a compilation tape that somebody put together at during a 12-year period?
No.
12 years.
Do you know what 12 years ago was nothing? 12 years ago was not the 1900. The Rodney King the LA riots happened in 1992. 12 years ago is the same time period we're living in now.
12 years ago, comedians was on stage saying that word. 12 years ago, comedians were on stage talking about every culture. So it's like, and I'm not saying that,
years ago is not that long ago. I don't think white
I'm not saying that it's that long ago, but I'm saying it's a difference than what we have now with the cancel culture. Now a comedian cannot get on stage and say whatever they want. But there's this one comedian, if I pull him up, I got to look at his name. And he has a lot of YouTube videos. He talks about every single culture. I don't even know how he gets away with it, but he talked about every single culture. Even if you speak to any comedian now, Steve Harvey has said it. He said, I would never survive in stand-up now because you can't say a word. And he's saying, but back then, 12 years ago, they were able to say whatever, however, about any culture. So all I'm saying is that 12 years ago, the language that you could use was different. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm talking it was different.
No, I'm just saying 12 years ago, it was not okay for white people to say the N-word. 12 years ago is nothing. 12
it's
years
never
ago,
okay for anybody to say it.
It was never okay. But what I'm saying to you is that unfortunately, because we ourselves in our own culture, let it be okay within the culture, then how can you teach other people that it's not okay?
Well,
so you have to.
I have had this conversation with someone who's not Black. And you know what he told me right off the bat? He said, you don't say the N-word. And he said that anybody that is telling you different is BSing you.
Yeah.
No, all that I understand too. But what we saying is, and I'm not saying it was right for nobody to be saying it, whether it's 12 years ago, 27 years ago. So let's not get that twisted. We said at a certain point, and we all can admit this on this panel, if we're being truly honest. Mm-hmm. In our past, whether it's 5 years ago, 12 years ago, have said something that's inappropriate, probably to another race.
But does that make it okay, Perry?
No. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying that at a certain point, you got to base it off, to me, is what is it actually about?
A gray area. If it wasn't the N-word. Like if it was something that was inappropriate, that was cultural, but it wasn't just like we all know the N-word has no other meaning. Like that is a universal thing. We know what it means. But what if he was asking a Black woman if he could touch her hair or something like that? You could say, well, he didn't know that was offensive. That's just a person that just doesn't understand what they're doing. But you using the N-word, you know what you're saying. I just think that he thought he found a loophole to be able to say it.
Right. Maybe it wasn't that monitored like that.
A lot of the listeners did not know this. I'm telling you, I casually listened to his podcast. I subscribe to Spotify. a lot of people are not just now saying, they're saying something because they didn't know. Just like the
No,
right.
can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question.
To me, your emotions shouldn't change over 12 years. I mean, if
I didn't know 12 years ago, though. I didn't know.
But I'm saying you didn't know 12 years ago, but you know now. But I'm saying he said it 12 years ago. So what my point is that him being punished for it shouldn't happen because it was 12 years ago. How you feel about it should be how you feel about it. If you see this person now today and you feel about a certain way because he did use that word, and these are your feelings currently now, I understand that. But to go back and try to punish somebody what they did or said about something 12 years ago.
Let me say this really quick. What's the name of his network? Spotify is still supporting him, so they will not cancel the show. So we need to know that.
People would have to, like Callie is saying, people would have to drop their membership, right? But remember, Netflix did not cancel Dave Chappelle. So and Steve Harvey also talked about this. He said Dave Chappelle can say what he want to say because he's not on a platform where it's based on sponsors like Nike and all of that. He's on Netflix, and he's saying that it's a subscription base. So Spotify is a subscription base, and unless everybody cancels their membership, they can continue to support him. So that's what, so that's the difference there. If he was going out on the road and he was trying to be sponsored by Nike and all of these other people, maybe the backlash would come a little quicker. But because
he has sponsors. He has sponsors. That's why they paid him all this money. His podcast has commercials.
Right.
I know his podcast has commercials, but Spotify gave him $100 million contract. Mm-hmm. That's the difference I'm saying. Netflix gave Dave Chappelle $1 million contract. So although they have sponsors, that has nothing to do with the contract that the actual network gave.
On Spotify, he has commercials. So it's a little bit different. It's not just the subscribers. He has people advertising on the content that he is putting on Spotify.
Well, answer this question for me. Yeah. What do you say to people that say 5 days ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was, everybody know that word is wrong?
Right.
I think if it was
okay, so we say everybody knows that word is wrong, Sherelle, but does a black coach even know that word is wrong? Because they say it often and all the time.
Let me say what you're saying. You're saying by black people using that word themselves, they have watered it down. Is that what you're saying?
They have. When you want to say it in your song, in your song every day, yo, that's my name, and then you want to say to people it's wrong when they say it, you are lessening. We are lessening the word ourselves. So you have to take the word out of context and never say it yourself either.
What do you say to that, Callie?
I don't use the N-word. I don't even really listen to hip hop because I don't like the N-word. I've asked black people to leave my home because they refuse to stop using the N-word. I think it is a very common misconception that all black people use the N-word and are okay with other black people using it. That is not true. I know a lot of black people like myself that's like, look, if you're using the N-word, you got a low opinion of black people. And that's just what it is. And I don't care what color your skin is. Why are you using that word? That word is very dehumanizing. And
but do you remember when Right. Do you remember when Jay-Z was on the interview with Oprah and Oprah begged him not to use that word anymore more? And he said, we got to agree to disagree.
I remember.
What do you remember that? So what I'm saying is
that there's a lot of questionable stuff. This is what I'm saying. That was the first red flag with him.
He can, Callie. But what my point is saying that when you have a platform and millions of people follow you and like you, we don't have to like you. We could be questionable to you, but you have an audience that is large where there's many people that look up to you. There's a lot of young black men that look up to him. And if he's going to sit there and say, well, we got to agree to disagree that the N-word is bad,
you're saying let's give Joe Rogan and Howard Stern a break because
No,
No,
I'm not saying
let's
that, Jarrell.
get on black people that are using the word too. That's what we need to do. We
Right.
need to lay down the law. We cannot just continue to keep going on like this and nothing changing and things actually regressing. Because this is a regression. This was not happening in 1970. This is a regression.
Let me read this super chat really quick.
Yeah, okay.
Here's context to 12 years ago and how different we are now. 2011, 11 years ago, don't ask, don't tell regarding being gay in the military was abolished. Now transgenders are allowed to serve. Point is, a lot changed in 12 years. I think she's saying what you're saying. It was the times. It's the times. I got another one.
No,
Jeffrey
12
Dahmer,
years ago was
the
not
ventriloquist, has ripped black people and Asian people and little people and Muslim people apart on stage. I don't know who Jeffrey Dunham is. I don't know who that is.
Okay, can I say this though? I mean, nobody on this panel is nowhere condoning the use of the word, and we saying that. And if it's everybody's personal choice, we're not telling you, Nola or anybody else, to say, well, no, we give them a pass. If you don't like what they said and you want to hold them accountable for something they did 12 or 27 years ago, fine, because everybody make their own choices. But let me ask you this, and this is a serious question. I'm sure you probably have white friends, or maybe not. I just want to ask, do you have a white friend?
Callie?
Yeah,
You're talking to Callie?
Okay. So you got one, right? But I just wanted to ask that before. What if you found out one of your friends used the N-word a lot?
12 years ago.
15 years ago. 15 years ago.
We would no longer be friends.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Go ahead.
I feel
For
like
me?
what a lot of people don't understand is that racism often happens on a subconscious level. They're not always conscious things that you're doing. So if you are in a point where you feel like it's okay for you to just be saying the N-word for any other reason, you're doing other stuff too. You're doing other microaggressions too. It's not.
Do you? Okay. So, and really, you saying that you don't think prisoners should be given a second chance? Because once they commit that crime, they should never come back because there's no hope for change, right? I mean, do you think people change?
It depends on what they have done. That's what I'm saying. If he would have said something a little bit more vague, like if it wasn't the N-word and it was just something that he didn't understand was offensive, but he knew full well what he was saying and he thought he could say it because he found a loophole. He said it himself. He said, I could say it because of da 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 da. So he knew he was saying something wrong and offensive, but he thought he found a loophole to say it.
But you keep saying that 12 years ago was not that long ago, right? You keep saying 12 years ago was not that long ago.
I don't understand what 12 years ago has to do with anything.
12 years ago, when somebody did something 12 years ago, they weren't treated the same way that they would be treated if they did it today. And you're saying, well, 12 years ago is still like not that far away. Well, 2 years ago is not that far away, but we've changed in 2 years. So we continuously change and grow each year. So if somebody did something 12 years ago, they were treated different than the way they would be treated today. So I'm saying your feelings, the way you feel probably hasn't changed. You still feel that same way 10 years ago, 12 years ago, or whatever, if that's the way you feel. But to be punished for something you did 12 years ago is just not right to me. To punish somebody for something they did 12 years ago doesn't make sense to me. Or 27
let's take some more excuses because not excuses, callers. Yeah, I mean, we all have a point. Let's just see what people say. Hey, Sebastian, where do you stand on this political issue?
The thing is, I don't support cancel culture. I really don't. Especially people can grow just in 1 year, someone can grow. In 1 year, someone can grow and learn their mistakes. Examples, Nick Cannon, after he made his anti-Semitic comments that he said, he grew from that. Now he has a daytime show. What Joe Rogan has said, he has said some despicable things. He has said very despicable things about using the N-word. But I am saying that I can't tolerate someone saying that word. But if you said it in the past, I can forgive you if you know now why it was wrong for you to say that word. If you recognize why it was wrong for you why you shouldn't never said that word, and he has, and he acknowledged that he made a mistake, and he acknowledged why people are mad about him saying that word, and that's what matters. I think you should be able to like hold yourself accountable. Once you hold yourself accountable and know that what you did was a mistake, I do think you should be forgiven.
But he knew it was wrong when he was saying it.
Let me bring up
That's
what
why
are
we
your
gotta
beliefs
support
on
it.
this?
Hey, Cheryl. My first point is I disagree that this is political, but I look at it more as we have to look at this through the historical context. I teach university students with varied ages, both undergrad and graduate students. And I have seen a difference when we talk about the N-word in race and ethnicity classes. The younger demographic that has grown up with it being used in popular culture by Black and brown people accept what Diva is saying, that if you continue to use the word in our communities but expect somebody else not to use it, it's disingenuous, because the underlying reason of that word was to dehumanize and not make us as equal to what was the dominant culture, which is white people at the time. And then when you get to demographics that are more middle age, there is no way you can sanitize that word. Now, I come from a different culture, and I see this from having been an immigrant from Africa. Now, I came here in 2000, so that's 18 years ago. I will use this example to show you how important it is for us not to forget our past while we look at our present. 9/11 happened how many years ago? But we have spent not only our blood, but our financial resources to try and correct what happened during 9/11. And then the last thing I'll say is, when we look at the N-word, if we don't value ourselves as human beings, that should not be called anything but the child of God. Nobody will respect us or even give us the reason why we have so many young men in prison is because our men have been seen as less than and not as human beings, because they are referred to and addressed in that manner. And it is imperative that if this has to change, we as a community have to have a come to Jesus moment and say, okay, we're not going to use it because this is the history of this word and nobody else has the right or should use it. And Howard Stern got in trouble in the late 90s, early 2000s because of his misogyny, the names he was calling women, and using the N-word. And what happened? Many stations actually canceled him, and he ended up going to Sirius, which was subscription.
Yeah,
so the difference now.
Yep. So
Joe Rogan is subscription.
So now, Bonji,
Yeah.
everything you said, I 100% agree with.
Yep.
You got to make people respect you. Now, does Joe Rogan make the decision? Does Joe Rogan get fired?
Joe Rogan should have been fired for his misinformation on COVID.
Yeah,
because this whole thing,
yeah.
all these tapes that are coming out and him using the N-word, this wouldn't be an issue for Spotify until musicians started taking away their music from Spotify because of misinformation. So until misinformation on COVID, Spotify didn't do their due diligence to hold their talent to a certain level. But now that they are losing money and resources, now it's an issue. And now this N-word issue has also been added to all these things that are being talked about.
Stop right there, because what you said made sense. Diva, what she's saying makes 100%.
Well, she's saying the same thing I was saying.
Well,
see
so
how he
do we fire Joe Rogan?
Well, See, the thing is, if you're gonna fire him for the combination of things that you were supposed to fire him for. You are adding, like she said, this end thing to the situation to get us hyped up about it. You understand what I mean?
I'm aware of
So
that.
there was other things before that he should have been fired for. And so Bonji is connecting to exactly what I'm saying. You cannot have the community using the word, but then you want to say when other people use it, you have desensitized it. She also saying what I was saying. He went to a subscription-based station because he was able to get away with more at the subscription-based station than he could if he was going to be on like an NBC, ABC, or whatever. So Spotify is subscription-based. Netflix is subscription-based. And that's why they're allowed to say a little more and get away with a little more. And that's why the network is able to say to them, oh, we're not going to let go Dave Chappelle because we run this thing. It's our money. So it is up to Spotify to say, and if they do lose enough people, if they lose enough subscriptions, and you see if enough people back their music out, then they're going to start listening to the people. But I think the underlying thing is like Bonji is saying, we need to stop using the word. Period. We are the only culture that disrespects ourselves on a regular basis. You will have no other culture that is going to call themselves a derogatory name on a regular basis. We're the only culture that does that.
Yeah, that's true. Maria says, Joe is 100% wrong for using the word. Ever, period. But when did we become a country where people can't evolve? Be better, change, and grow. Imagine your worst mistake defining who you are now, that you've grown and become better. Is that what you're trying to say, V? Give people
exactly what I was trying to say. I said when I first opened my mouth, I said I've been three different people since 27 years ago. You grow, you change, you learn, you do better, you get older.
So you're saying don't fire them for something somebody said 27 years ago in a compilation over 12 years. You're saying give people a chance to change?
I'm saying don't fire them. But if you feel today a certain way about what somebody has said in the past, that's your feelings. Keep your feelings. Go with that. But if you want to punish that person for saying it 27 years ago, that's wrong. That's what I'm saying.
That wasn't 27 years ago. It wasn't 27 years ago. The tape that we're seeing of Joe Rogan was taken over a period of 12 years. You could look at him in some of those clips and tell how old he is, that it was not 27 years ago. I don't even think they had podcasts 27 years ago.
I'm not talking about just him. I was talking about Howard Stern.
The Howard Stern thing, like she was saying, Howard Stern has done other stuff. That particular clip is a bit of a gray area because he's mocking someone who was doing something racist.
Right, but it's still racist.
But it's still wrong. But like, you know what I mean?
Agree.
It's still wrong.
I think what we have to go back to, Sherelle, is, on a regular job, you get a warning, then you get a suspension, then you get your final warning, then you get fired. So, with cancel culture, the minute something happens, it's like off with your head. We're done with you. So I think that we can't in one instance say, oh, Whoopi should be, given a second chance. But then we say other people should not be given a second chance. You got to do something across the board and come in the middle and say, listen, you know what? This was wrong. Let's educate you. Now, after your education, if you continue the wrong, then you got to go. So
what do you say about that, Callie? What do you say about that?
I think it matters what the person did. If the problem is like I just said with Howard Stern, there are things that are in a gray area that are wrong, but you can understand that someone may have done that, not really understanding that it was offensive. And then there are things like the N-word. And even Joe Rogan in his apology pretty much said, I thought I could say it because I found a loophole. I'm paraphrasing, but that's
yeah. The super chat says we can't act like the word is kryptonite when another culture uses it. Unfortunately, our culture uses it like it's golden. Repeat demands respect. Sebastian, should we fire Joe Rogan?
No, we should.
Why?
I don't think we should fire him because it would just make no sense. We have to, if we're gonna fire Joe Rogan, we have to fire the president Joe Biden. We have to fire so many Hillary Clinton for calling certain people N-words. We have to fire
Yeah.
You know how many people we would have to fire if they did this action? We would have to fire so many people.
If we don't fire him, how do we stop it?
We raise social awareness, and first of all, I completely agree about not using this word in the Black community. There is no reason for Black people to be using this word. No reason. It's
and I would agree, and maybe that's the start.
And then then there's this thing called the N pass that a lot of Black people be giving out to. Well, they say they give out, but it's not real. It's called the N pass. You give it to someone who's non-Black.
Yep, I heard of it.
Word. This is the whole situation. This is the whole thing why that word should not even be used in music. If we're gonna cancel Joe Rogan, if we're gonna fire him, we have to remove all the music in Apple Music, iTunes, and all these major platforms, and Spotify that has that word included as well.
Let me bring on some more people. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Bonji. Callie, stay on because you're so your convictions. I want to
passionate.
Thank you, Sebastian. Take care. I like it when you're passionate. I just want to see how other people feel about it.
Well, no, this hurt my feelings because I actually really liked Spotify as a service. Like, I really have been a subscriber since they came to the United States, and I was like, okay, no, this is not okay. And at the same time, you're deleting episodes, so it's like you're trying to cover things up before people go back to them. I'm more upset with Spotify than I am with Joe. Joe is just a damn dummy that somebody. But
Joe Rogan a dummy.
Camilla, it's not your turn.
Sid, what are your thoughts? Should Joe Rogan specifically, since he's in the hotlines,
Hush, Camilla. No, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Prime example. Let's go back just to make somebody laugh. You think about it. When the Jeffersons came on, what did George call Tom Willis?
A white honky.
Exactly. But he couldn't say Negro, could he? He couldn't use the N-word. You think of Archie Bunker.
We've regressed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, you think of Archie Bunker. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't say the N-word, but he would say Negro. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you think about Richard Pryor. I used to sneak and listen to Richard Pryor's tapes.
So you're agreeing with V. Times have changed. A lot of comedians used to use that back then, and Howard Stern was doing a skit. And so
I wouldn't go with Howard Stern's skit because I slapped the taste out of his mouth.
He said
he was done other stuff.
But he was, he's done other stuff. I mean, he belittled women. I mean,
he's done a whole bunch of stuff to be gone for.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
We're talking about the N-word at this time.
Yeah, we're talking about the N-word. No, I don't know about that. Yeah, he should be gone. But Vega made me forget what I was saying.
Oh, sorry.
No, you were saying that Archie Bunker actually didn't get up there and say the N-word. That's what you were saying, like and that was back in 1970 something.
I know he wouldn't say Negro. I mean, he would say Negro, colored people. They would say colored people. Mm-hmm. But I want to say, flip the script. How would they feel? Us as African Americans would use the word H or honky, because that's how they were back then. Richard Pryor and were paraphrasing and say white folks was honkies, what else, crackers and stuff like that. Okay.
I don't think it had the same meaning.
I can't speak for a white person, but those words are not a dehumanizing label that was used to literally classify you as something that wasn't a human so that they could capture you, kidnap you, torture you, do all these awful things to you and say, well, that's not a person, that's an N-word. So there's not that history there. Actually, cracker refers to the people that were doing that. So it's that history is not there.
I know it's degrading. I would not let anybody use that word. I mean, I don't use it.
Let me bring on another caller because a lot of people. Corey, sound off.
Oh, here she go. Come on,
Yes, Seth
Corey.
Rogen should be fired. And let me tell you why he should be fired. Joe Rogan. Excuse me, Seth. I'm so sorry, baby. Because my son keeps mentioning Seth Rogen. He was like, "Are they related?" I'm like, "No." Okay. So Joe Rogan has a half black stepdaughter, and he continuously uses this word. India
when he's using the word, he's not using it towards anyone. He's doing it like the rap culture. Does that make sense?
We don't know. We didn't hear the whole conversation.
Right.
Now I'm gonna push back. I'm gonna push back with Diva. I'm gonna push back with V. I've been waiting because y'all are really playing Captain Save-A-Ho for these two white men. And this is the consensus in the chat. That's what it seems like. I know that's not what y'all doing, but that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
It seems like you're going so hard in the paint for these two.
Oh,
okay. Well, you know what? But here's the thing, Corey. Everybody's getting it wrong. What I'm going hard for is what is right. So we can't constantly say, "Oh, say Whoopi, say this one, say that one."
Didn't say anything.
That's
bad.
the way. That's the way you feel, right? But that's the way you feel.
Yeah. She's misinformed.
Maybe the culture
that's what
that
the
it was
Anti-Defamation League says.
But maybe the culture that it was against feels differently. So what I'm saying is that I'm using the context of when someone is wrong in what they say, regardless if they said it against the Black culture or another culture, right? I'm saying if somebody is wrong in what they say, then they all should pay equally. I'm sorry, Corey. They saying let you speak.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead and speak, and then I'm gonna say my thing.
That's what it seems like. It seems like y'all going so hard for these men. But what it is, Joe Rogan knows what he's saying. He has not evolved. Period. He has not evolved. He has been his own, dare I say, racist self from the beginning. And Howard Stern has not evolved either. He's just gotten a little quieter with it. And I'm so upset.
Go ahead. Preach, Corey, preach.
Joe Rogan and the head of Spotify are two of the same types of people. This is why they are not censoring him, suspending him, or giving him any kind of punishment because they are of like mind.
No, they're doing a cover up.
That too. They're going hard for that.
Yeah.
They're going hard for that.
Deleting things and taking the episodes. They are literally trying to cover this up before people go back and listen to them.
What about that, V? She's saying that these are two men that the system is supporting. They really are. Flip the scripts. If it was somebody else, they might have not supported him. What about that? They did something wrong, period. 12 years ago, 8 years ago, just period.
I'm saying we're crossing apples with oranges.
Come on, dude.
We were talking about should they lose their jobs for saying something 12 years ago, 2 years ago, however many years ago. And I'm saying if you said something back then, it should have been dealt with back then. You don't come back 5 years later and say, "Oh, they did use that word in their past. We should fire them."
The climate wasn't like it is now then.
Okay, let me take this. What about the politician that had the blackface in college?
He had to go too. I wanted him to go too.
Didn't he get they removed him, right?
No.
They didn't?
No, he trotted himself out in front of the people and said, "I apologize. I did not know blackface was wrong. I was trying to emulate Michael Jackson, blah, 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 blah." No. He had to go too. They voted him out of office recently.
They dealt with it at the time. Now, 10 years from now, they can't come back here and say he needs to be fired. That's what I'm saying. If you didn't deal with it at the time that it happened, I'm not saying even that Joe is a good guy. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he's not still doing things that he shouldn't be doing. If he's doing something now or saying something now that he shouldn't be saying, then deal with him.
Okay,
Deal
with
with
that logic, someone in the chat said Bill Cosby shouldn't be nothing should happen to Bill Cosby.
It's different.
So you can't
exactly.
So
No, I
different
think people didn't know Joe was saying this. A lot of people didn't. I know people are saying,
I knew it.
I didn't know that he was saying these things. I honestly did not know. And instead of Spotify saying like, look, we didn't know when we signed a deal with him, we're going to review the situation. We didn't know. No, they're trying to cover things up and cover for him. And it's very disturbing. Because Joe has money, he can put up his own website. He does not need to be on Spotify.
Thank you, Happy Joy. Thank you, Happy Joy. You connected with me and be here.
It's just like black people still buying Teslas. And Elon Musk is the most racist person out there. He allows the N-word to flow freely through his factories. A black employee just sued him and won $56 million for discrimination, and yet black people still up there buying Teslas.
Don't buy a Tesla, but don't wait 20 years and then don't buy a Tesla. Don't buy a Tesla now.
But don't buy a Tesla ever.
Well, I said don't wait 20 years and then say you ain't gonna buy one. Don't buy one.
We still wearing Gucci and Prada.
The waiting is a misconception. Sometimes people don't know.
Yep,
it's not that I knew this 8 years ago and I just didn't care. I believe The Rock when he said he didn't know because I didn't know. It's black people that have been on his show. I'm sure they didn't know.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't know until it hit the paper this week. I didn't know really neither. So, I mean, I don't watch Joe Rogan. I don't watch Joe Rogan.
Well,
so,
Charlamagne went on there anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
So what about what LeVar's saying? So does that mean Luann de Lesseps needs to be fired for her blackface?
I think she's back. I don't think she's coming back this season.
Yes, she should have been fired.
Then we would have to fire Kenya Moore for misappropriating. Remember the Halloween outfit she wore? Remember the Halloween outfit she wore and they dragged her for filth over it? So what I'm saying is, Sherelle, is that everybody at some point, nobody's perfect. I'm not saying I don't know 100% on the context this man used the word. I don't know 100% of everything. I would have to sit down and listen to all of it. And I can't say whether somebody's apology is authentic or not. You know, people are always going to drag the apology either onto the left or to the right. All I'm saying is that we have to use some decorum and say to ourselves, all right, things happen, right? How do we dissect it? And do we ever give anybody a chance to do an apology? And do we accept the apology once they do it?
It has to be sincere, Diva. His apology was not sincere.
Yeah, and also
so they only apologize when they get caught. They only apologize when it's messing with their pockets or they get caught. That's when they start apologizing.
That's the only reason why Whoopi apologized, because it was gonna mess with her pockets.
If it was noticeable, I mean, like it came out like it did with his.
But also, everything is not on the same level. I'm sorry, it's just not. I think it's very possible for someone to do something that is culturally offensive just because they don't understand it's offensive. But he knew he wasn't supposed to be using the N-word.
Things are on a case-by-case basis.
Just found a loophole.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Callie. You can't there's not just a cultured rule for everything. Things is on a case-by-case basis. And if you do it on a case-by-case basis, Joe Rogan needs to go because he hasn't learned a damn thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Real Love says, it's not a mistake if you knowingly hurt people on purpose. I understood that he has done this the last 2 years. Am I wrong? Well, no.
She's correct.
Yeah.
He mentioned something.
More information coming out.
He mentioned there was a podcast. He was talking to someone about he was on his podcast, and he said him and his wife, who has a black daughter, went to see Planet of the Apes, but it was in Planet of the Apes. Talking about a black neighborhood.
Yeah, because they went to the movie theater, and when they got there, it was a black neighborhood.
And Planet of the Apes was in Africa. No, it's not set in Africa. It's set in a dystopian America.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't get a pass because he said something a long time ago and he's still saying it. If he's still saying something, then deal with it now.
That's what we're trying to do, V.
Well, that's my point.
But you got Captain Saberhole cape on right now.
Well, no. I don't think V is going from that way.
I know. I'm just playing.
She don't appreciate the work, but I think what could be the crossover too, though, is because Rogan is still doing apparently, what y'all saying, the stuff now.
Yeah.
I think when we was talking about the 27 years is when that came out from Howard Stern. So
the time wasn't right for Howard Stern to be canceled like he should have been.
Long ago. In a degree, Howard Stern did receive some backlash for some of his behavior.
Right. Not enough though, but yeah.
I had a Caucasian co-worker that worked with me, and I had just gotten some new pictures of my grandbaby, and she was dressed up, with the little stomach out and stuff. And she said, "Oh, look at the little monkey." I said, "My grandbaby ain't no goddamn monkey." I said, "Would you call a black man a gorilla?" She talking about, "No." I said, "Well, don't you call no black baby no monkey."
That's right.
All right. I got a long line. Corey, thank you.
I dressed it when I saw it.
There you go.
I still got to keep you, Callie, because you're strong in your convictions. But I got to take more calls. I got to bring in new callers. Callie.
Got it. I love you. I love you, V, and I love you, Diva. Y'all know I love y'all.
We know you love you.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Believe in.
Yeah,
we know.
Thank you, guys. Let me bring on some more calls.
Okay, love y'all.
All right.
Bye, Sam.
I got to bring in new people.
Yeah, I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to be sitting back here listening.
I appreciate it. Here. What'd you say, Callie?
Oh, no, Callie gone.
Okay.
Hey.
Thank you, Sin. I appreciate it. So many people need to get in. Some people are trying to get in. Hey, Lola.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Lola.
Hey, Lola.
Hey, Drea. Let me bring you back, Drea. Hi, Sharon. Are you there?
Hi.
Hi. Okay, Sharon, you sound off first because I got a long line. My goodness.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Sharon. What did you want to add to the conversation?
Yeah, because I've been waiting to get in for a long time.
Go ahead, sound off.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Sound off.
Are you still there, Sharon?
First of all, you all are too young to remember. I'm 61 years old.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Going in and out.
Yeah.
I think she's going in and
Oh, let me
out.
hear what she had to say. Sharon.
And I gave you the legs to run.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're fading in and
You're
out.
going
Please
in and
talk
out.
louder because I want to hear what you have to say. You're on mute, Sharon. Oh, Sharon, you're on mute.
So you can bring it back up.
Going in and out anyway.
I want to hear what
Can you
she
hear
has
me
to
now?
say. Yeah. Can you say it?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm 61 years old, and I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, she's still going in.
I think she's going in and out, Sharon.
She's on a delay.
Yeah, it's delaying. I gave you all the legs to run. You all are running too far for canceling people. Try 40 years.
I'm gonna have to drop you. I'm so sorry, Sharon. Call back in. We can't hear you.
Okay.
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 Oh, it's funny. He heard us say that.
Well, sound off really quickly. What do you have to say?
Yeah, hey, I just wanted to say that I've been listening the whole time. I completely agree with Callie. The video compilation has been compiled over the last 12 years. So at different moments at the last 12 years, he's been saying this word over and over irresponsibly. He's not only said that, he said a bunch of stuff. Like he's said every single slur word there is for every single minority. And I literally heard him say the derogatory term for Latin people, Asian people, and the N-word all in one podcast. And his reasoning for saying it was like, well, no one gets upset at it anymore. Like, as if, where did he get this statistic from? Like, where does it make it okay for you to do that? You know what I'm saying? It's completely disgusting. Like, he's only he didn't even apologize. His apology was like, oh, I'm sorry that people outside of my circle heard this. That was his apology. Outside of the people who follow him, maybe. That's not an apology. That's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm even supporting.
You don't need to use this. I'm not going to speak for the Black community because I don't belong to the Black community. But what I'm trying to say is that as an outsider, I've never felt the need to say the word. And being educated throughout the years, like, you know, the word comes from a disgust. Like, it hits deep rooted in some of the most inhumane acts ever. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I don't understand why there's white people and people of other races that feel like it's okay for them to use the word. It's not. Like, I've seen it enough times online and in TV where Black people have said, we don't like others using this word. We don't care about your intention. It's not okay. So I don't understand why this lesson needs to keep being repeated. That's why I feel like he should be fired, because he should know already, as old as he is, that he shouldn't be saying that word.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I don't think nobody on the panel saying that he didn't know he didn't supposed to use the word.
Right.
So, I'm not here by no means to defend Joe.
But that's why I'm saying that's why he should be fired, because he knew.
Most people are saying it's that, along with other behavior stuff that he's got going on. And I don't watch him, so I don't know if this happened last year, 2 years ago, or whatever, right?
Right.
But I think at the same time, I think we have these conversations to try to say this. How do we get to a point where we could, when something pop up like this, we can cancel right away? And I mean, you know, or like, say if Black stopped using the word and the word died out, when somebody say it, it's going to be more clear to know.
But Perry, just because you say it doesn't mean I have the right to say it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not debating whether or not
I
you
hear
should
that,
stop
but
using
I
it.
shouldn't be saying it neither. I shouldn't be saying it neither if I'm going to be offended if somebody else said it towards me.
Right.
No, what I'm saying is that's not my place to say. But what I'm trying to say is that even if, let's say, a whole bunch of Black people in a room around me say the word, that doesn't make it okay for me to say it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
I get it.
So that, to me, that argument is like, it's not valid in a sense, because just because you hear someone saying it in a song doesn't mean you have the right to say it.
So see, I was gonna say it has to start with hip hop, because that's where it's embedded. If the hip hop and the rap artists don't stop, how are we gonna get the other people to stop? Is the whole question, because it's embedded in the music everywhere. So you got to start in the hip. We got to start trying to. I'm not gonna say censor them, but it's got to be some way we can, come together to stop that word from being used.
And let me say this, because I got to close out. We've gone, why don't we go so fast? And then, this goes on so fast. Me personally, I really haven't said what I thought the whole time, but Joe needs to go.
Yeah.
Joe needs to go. It's unacceptable. I do understand what Diva's talking about. Diva and V are very mature. At some point, you have to give people a chance. The cancer culture has to stop, because people are saying the smallest things and you're fired for it.
Right.
And we're picking and choosing who we want to cancel.
Right.
Well, don't cancel Whoopi, but Joe got to go. But for me personally, watching his show, he's over the top. Like,
yeah, he is.
Howard Stern, you should have been fired 30 years ago. I say no, that was 30 years ago. But Joe needs to go, in my opinion. And it's a crazy thing. We all got our opinions on it. I'm so sorry I'm out of time. And it's so ironic that so they want to cancel Howard Stern tomorrow. Just coincidentally, I'm bringing on Howard Stern's ex-producer of a year, Brent Hadley. I'm so sorry, because it's so crazy. We're bringing on Brent Hadley. This is so crazy. Tomorrow I'm bringing on Brent Hadley, who's saying, don't hire the white guy, Michael Rappaport, for Wendy Williams' job. It needs to be another Black woman, Sherry Shepherd. Here's a little clip from that, you guys.
Coming up on Sherelle's World, I'm talked to Brent Hatley and his wife Caitlin about his beef with Michael Rappaport.
You just don't like Michael Rappaport.
I can't stand him.
Brent, you're that big of a little.
No, you're the biggest. You're the biggest on the planet. We can bring it all the talking to an end, and we can settle things like men any day you want.
You mean like you want to me?
Let's get in the octagon and see who walks out under their own power.
Listen, Brent, are you looking for a handout?
And I'll get the keys to an MMA gym, and you and I'll walk in there, and we'll see who walks out under their own power. You.
His swinger lifestyle and his wife Caitlin Hatley.
People might not admit that they're swingers. There's a huge percentage of people in the United States right now that are swingers.
And Hogan's sex tape scandal.
It's a funny story, but it's true. He had sex with her, and as a result, he got
141 million.
Tune in tomorrow.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
We'll have to see that. So check that out tomorrow, you guys. I'm so sorry if I didn't get to your calls backstage. I am completely out of time, just like the first video. But I can't do 2-hour lives. They're just too long. And then I want to come back tonight with the crazy 90-Day Fiance and a little bit of Big Brother. So if I didn't get to you, I do apologize. Please leave your comments in the comments section. This is a sensitive subject. I respect everybody's opinion. We all have a right to our opinions. It is what it is. Eva, V, Perry, Canelo, Lola, thank you guys. Thank you to everyone for your super chats. You don't have to support the channel, and you do. So thank you very much for that. On 3, guys, let's say bye. 1, 2, 3. Bye, guys.
Bye.